Doon tayo sa crosswalk sa kabila.
Okay. Any bags, backpacks, purses? Any bags?
Here, number one, if you haven't heard say already, there's a cabin downstairs with a bar and bartender down there. Victor is more than happy to serve you with whatever you guys need. There's also a restroom down there in the back of the cabin. Best way down is either the back stairs back there or either stairwell on either side of the pilot house here. Please use the handrails and walk through that. Other than that, you can walk around the boat anytime you want, wherever you want. The second announcement is the boarding ramp that you just came announced. If we pull that off, we're going to play an automated safety speech. Please listen up to that. Very important. And with that, I'll turn it over to Zach, one of my favorite tour guides.
Tour guide today. Hello, everyone. We can do better. It's a beautiful day out. Hello, everyone. Hello. There we go. I needed more energy on my first hello. We all need a second take sometimes, people. Don't feel bad about it. What's up, guys? You having a good day? Somebody said no. I'm hoping it gets better. Having a great day myself. You know why? Because I am doing my favorite thing in my favorite place. My favorite place? Easy question. Thanks for asking it. Chicago. My favorite thing to do in Chicago? Another easy question. You're taking it easy on me this boat ride. Talking about Chicago on a boat. I love to do it. And I'm so excited to be doing it for these next 45 minutes. And I am going to be talking for a majority of the 45 minutes. About 43 of the 45 I'll be talking. And even if you go down to the bar, even if you go to the bathrooms, I'll be right there with you. Not physically, verbally. That is my terrible way of saying, if you do need to go downstairs, do not worry about missing the narration. We got speakers all throughout the boat, even in the bathrooms. Now, the reason I love talking about this city so much, reason number one, this city is one of the architectural capitals of the world. The reason I say that, reason number one, easy, look around us right now. Now, I gotta say, folks, you already knew it. You picked a beautiful day to take a tour of Chicago. And for those of you who do not live in Chicago and did not get here 3 days ago, it's a beautiful day like this all the time. The weather never changes. It's just like this all year round. For those of you who do live in Chicago or got here 3 days ago, keep your mouth shut. They don't need to know. It's supposed to be a good couple of days. The French Beaux Arts. A French Beaux art style building is always going to have three things on it. It'll have an ornately decorated bottom, a stack of plain flooring, and then an ornately decorated top. That is the French Beaux Arts architectural style. The Wrigley Building, of course, was originally mid-1900s. As he was becoming an architect, all of the architects around him were cladding their buildings in a lot of fancy carved stone and ornamentation. All that stuff was beautiful, but it cost money, it took time, and technically it was unnecessary to the function of the building. Mies van der Rohe revolutionized the whole world of architecture with one phrase. Of it, let's put his work into perspective. Look at this black box building here. Not much to say about this building physically, right? But before Ludwig Mies van der Rohe was an architect, no building in the world looked like this building. That might be a weird thing to hear, because if you've been to any modern city, every building in the world looks like that building. It's a plain rectangular steel box. That is called the International Style of Architecture, and it basically sparked the modernist movement of architecture. Says they are better well known in Chicago for obvious reasons. The actual name of the buildings is Marina City Towers, built in 1963 by Bertrand Goldberg in an effort to attract middle-class workers downtown to live. Because folks, back in the day, nobody wanted to live in downtown Chicago. Most people just worked down here. So Bertrand designed these two buildings like a city that was inside of a city. On the inside, there was a roller rink, a grocery store, a doctor's office, a movie theater, a bowling alley. Enter the pointy end. It goes outwards towards the balcony. Other common question I get, has anybody ever driven off of the parking lots before? Yep, twice. Once for a movie, once for an advertisement, nobody was hurt. The movie, Steve McQueen's second to last film, The Hunter, then the advertisement was for the Allstate Insurance Company in the early 2000s, drove a car halfway off the building, hung the car beside and put an Allstate billboard underneath that, sort of showing the worst case scenario for a vehicle in Chicago for their insurance company. Now, past the bridge, the clock tower. Count the columns of windows to the right of that clock tower. I'll do it for you. There's 6 columns of windows on that side. Look to the left side of the clock tower and count the columns of windows. There's only 5 on the other side. The whole building's off center. Clock tower isn't in the middle of it. Why? That building was built in 1914. The bridge in front of us was built in the 1930s. Whenever they put this bridge in, they would extend out this street. You're going to see here, it's 300 North LaSalle, designed by Picard and Shelton in 2009. This is one of the most environmentally friendly buildings in Chicago. It was built with over 60% recycled materials. Would you guys believe me if I told you? No air conditioning units inside of that building. No one is suffering in there during the summertime. The way they cool the building off is using the river water. They pump it in through the walls, pump it out cleaner than it actually already was. A map for river, we do have wildlife in the river, over 70 different species of fish live in the Chicago River. Better well known today as Macy's. They had 18 warehouse buildings scattered all around Chicago. They wanted to combine them into one building. If you're thinking 18 warehouses in one building, that'd be a ridiculously huge building. Look to the right. You'd be correct on that one. This ridiculously huge building is the Merchandise Mart. Built in 1931 by Graham Anderson, Probst and White. Whenever this massive Art Deco building was first built, it was the largest concrete building in the country by square feet. Today, it is only number 2 in there. On the right, you're going to see this outcropped piece of land right in Joliet. This is where they were first brought with the indigenous people, the Potawatomi, when they were brought here in 1673. When the Potawatomi brought Marquette and Joliet to this land, they kept referring to it as Chicago. It is where we get our name, Chicago. Now, Marquette and Joliet took that word Chicago as the name of the land. That was wrong. That was not the name of the land the Potawatomi were telling them. They were telling them the natural crop that grew from the land and explaining what. So take that, New York City. You'd be called the Big Apple all day long. Chicago is the smelly onion. Score 1 for Chicago. On the right, past those train tracks, you're going to see a building called 150 North Riverside. I don't call it that, though. That building in front of us is the building that comes with its own hand movement. Y'all are watching me. I'm also watching you. And every time somebody notices this one, they want somebody else to look at it, they'll nudge them. Do one of 3 things. So when we get out from underneath this bridge, look up at the slanting glass we're going to be going underneath. We're going to see the full reflection of our boat in the slanting glass right here. And I'm going to wave you guys. I'll just step forward a little bit. Look up. There we are. Hello. Oh, look at us. We look fantastic. Now, the way this building is possible, you see these thick gray lines, the 8 silver I-beams going all the way up the side of the building? Those silver I-beams are made of the world's strongest steel, developed in Luxembourg. They go all the way up the side of the building, then all the way down about 75 feet into the bedrock underground. Also, at the very top of the building, on the inside, can't see the water are sent the opposite way. The wind resistance, counterbalancing it. It's a counterweight system. A lot of buildings have that in Chicago. And on the right-hand side, you're going to see the Boeing building right next to us as we get out underneath the bridge. Fun fact, owns this building. They own the structure, but they have to pay Amtrak for the air that the building occupies. That's because in the United States, we have something called air rights construction. If you purchase property here, you own all of the air above your property until it gets to 2,000 feet. After that, that is government-owned airspace. You can't go past that in the U.S. So Boeing does have to lease the air from Amtrak. Last time I heard, it is $1 million a year to lease the air for that building. On the right, past the bridge, you're going to see a large limestone-clad building called 2 North Riverside Plaza, once home to the Chicago Daily News. I really want to point this one out because it's a great example of the Art Deco style of architecture. Now, the Art Deco style is probably the most popular architectural style in the U.S. from about 1920 to 1945. Art Deco style buildings will often feature sweeping vertical lines that draw your eye up, a limestone facade, and a setback. That is when the tower of the building is set back against the base as a step at the bottom of the building there. Also, usually, Art Deco buildings are large geometric forms that are symmetrical. Here, its name is Gateway 1. The second one down on the right-hand side, its twin's name is Gateway 2. The third, Stephanie. It's Gateway 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, the first two, completely identical buildings, they are both the international style of architecture. Covered that one. Ludwig Mies van der Rohe, less is more, getting rid of all that ornamentation. That last thing I just said isn't true because both of these buildings are Sentinel building used to be dark gray. It changed colors. It did not get repainted, it got reclad. It was originally clad in saying, let's get rid of that boring old gray color, move on to the ever more exciting and vibrant white. And that's exactly what they did. If you want to know what the building looked like before, check out the bottom floors you passed. The cladding is still dark gray. That didn't change. Moving on to Gateway 4, the green glass building that I called Stephanie. That was designed by James DiStefano, and he was asked in an interview. And now, folks, it is main attraction time as I invite you to look up and to the left. Since this is the tallest one, I gotta respect it and introduce it like a giant professional wrestler. So if y'all don't mind, standing at 1,456 feet. Designed in 1973 by Bruce Graham and Fosler Kahn. 110 stories, 16,100 windows. It's the W-I-L-L-I-S Tower. Say it with me, everyone. It's the Sears Tower. There it is. Some of y'all picking out, just putting down there. Now, I rattled off a lot of info. Let me do some of that info again. This is the Willis Tower by Bruce Graham and Fosler Kahn. It's 1,456 feet tall, and until 1996, it was the tallest building in the world. Fosler Kahn is considered the Einstein of modern architectural engineering. He developed the way this building was constructed, called a bundled tube construction style. What that means? This is not one structure. It is 9 75-foot tubes or boxes all fused together into one. What that does for the building is it makes Willis Tower does sway in the wind 18 inches in either direction on a windy day, a whole foot and a half. I can prove this to you. It takes a little bit of work on y'all's end. Got to go to the top floor of the Willis Tower. It is called Willis. Have to go to the top of the building. I'm sure you saw them. There are 2 white radio antenna. I've got a question for you guys. 2 white radio antenna contribute to the height of that building? Yes. They had the 2 radio antenna up there get married. Yeah, nice little ceremony for the radio antenna. Stop myself. Commodore 03 is next building, past the bridge. This is an often favorite on the tour, this limestone-clad building. To make it big as an opera singer, every time this woman would sing for the New York opera houses, they would hear her singing voice, they'll all respond the same way. Ugh, no thanks. Whenever you design a building within the context of the building's surroundings. Simplifying this, the river is bending right here. This building is contextual. Been on theme, I get this question a lot. What is this river called? Really easy name, it's the Chicago River. Now, also keep all well and good, but please, tell us, please, what is the color of the paint that the city of Chicago paints the bridges? I've been doing this job for 4 years. Never once has anybody been able to guess before I said Bordeaux. They've never screamed out. Granite-clad building called 77 West Wacker, past the bridge there. Now, that was designed by Ricardo Bofill, and this bridge, look at the bottom of the building. In the center at the bottom, above the door, it's going to be right next to us, you're going to see up steel and glass. That is the modern side of things. And at the very top, it looks like the Parthenon in Greece, right? That is postmodernism for you, and really just an example of how beautiful a building can really be in Chicago. Then right next to it, we got 55 West Wacker, which is an example of brutalism in Chicago. Now, brutalism is an interesting style, because with that style, you're not necessarily trying to make your building look good, you're trying to send a message with brutalism. Now, the commonly held belief on brutalist buildings is that they're always meant to look like FBI buildings. A lot of them are brutalist style. So a lot of people assume the word brutalism comes from the English word brutal. It doesn't. It comes from the French word brute, which means raw concrete. Most brutalist style buildings are made of raw concrete. Ahead of us on the right, brothers in 1929 in the middle of the Prohibition, the outlawing of alcohol in the U.S. Well, the Burnham brothers, being the ever-faithful Chicagoans, were not big fans of the outlawing of alcohol, so as a protest, what did they make their building look like? That's a big old bottle of booze right there. It's a bottle of champagne with the green and the gold at the very top. Coming out from underneath the bridge, right next to us, Howard, the Mather Tower, was first built in 19 to crack and degrade. Instead of fixing them on site, they detached them, flew them to a new location, fixed them there, then flew them back in using a helicopter and attached them to the very top of the building. That happened in like 2014. Now, right next to us, we have an older limestone-clad building called the London Guarantee and Accident Building, designed by Alfred Alschuler in 19... The contest was to design the world's most beautiful office building. Howells and Hood won the contest with this neo-Gothic design. Neo-Gothic, that is the modern architecture of the day and age, the 1920s, mixing with Gothic architecture meant to be mirroring the European Gothic cathedrals such as Notre Dame in Paris, with flying buttresses and cathedral stone. The architect that designed the building originally clad the building in fine white Italian Carrara marble, finest marble you can get your hands on. Now, I don't know if anybody here has been in Chicago during a cold Chicago day. If you think this is anywhere close, oh no, on the right. You're going to see a dark rectangular building and a dark triangular building. Look in between them right now, right next to us. You will see the odd white undulating balconies going up Aqua by Jeannie Gang. That building was built in 2009 by the Chicago local architect, Jeannie Gang. When that building was first completed, it was considered the most beautiful residential tower in the world. Also, has anybody here seen the first episode of the Netflix show Ozark? Jason Bateman, yeah. If you've seen that first episode, you definitely remember something horrible happening to somebody on/off a balcony. It's one of those balconies. Fun fact. Also, whenever that building was first built, it was the tallest building in the world, designed by a lead female architect. It was the tallest building in the world, designed by a woman. It is no longer the tallest building in the world, designed by a lead female architect. I know, it's a bummer. Just kidding, folks. It's not a bummer. Jeannie Gang went wild in 2021. Broke her own record with the wavy blue building on the right. Yes, this is also by Jeannie Gang and is called the St. Regis. It is 1,198 feet tall. It's the third tallest building in Chicago now, and now it's the tallest building in the world, designed by a lead female architect. It's a luxury apartment and hotel, so folks, get excited if you're looking for a penthouse apartment to rent in Chicago. Specific apartment, then I want you to yell out a few guesses as to what the monthly rent is. It is a 4-bedroom, 4-bathroom apartment with 6,600 square feet, and here's the real kicker detail. It is the tallest residence in Chicago. It's the highest point you can live in this city. Yell out a few guesses as to what the monthly rent is. I'm going to give you an unhelpful hint. It is less than $100,000 a month. 5,500, 99,000. Somebody said 30 something over here.
101.
18,000, 70,000. Now, 99,999. I get that one a lot. So, if you're thinking like 50 to 99,000, that is awesome. You could definitely afford it. It's only $37,000 a month. Yeah, 37,000. But it's for 4 bedrooms and 4 bathrooms. Go get a few roommates. Split up that rent. Now, if I were to live up there, I would probably need to get at least like 60 roommates. And I'm going to sit down. That is because I am not going to talk about what's around us. I'm going to talk about what is underneath us, the river. I've got a question, and to answer it, point. What direction does the river flow? Does it flow from the river into the lake, point behind me, or does it flow from the lake into the river, point behind the boat? River to lake to river, where are you going to point?
Behind.
If you're pointing from the river into the lake, drinking water. Yummy! Lake Michigan. We were drinking that nasty stuff, and people started to get sick. Cholera started to pop up around the water. And now, let's talk about the Navy Pier. Now, the Navy Pier, that is where you see the Ferris wheel.